Have you ever wondered how two people start at the exact same point, earning thoroughly the same salary, living in the same city, but years later, one of them is financially free while the other is working every single day just to pay the bills? Is it intelligence, or is it just that rich people born with better opportunities? Robert Kiyosaki says no. The real difference starts with one small decision. A decision you make every single time money lands in your pocket. A decision that seems simple but ends up shaping your entire financial future. In this video, we are combining two of the most important lessons from Rich Dad Poor Dad. Lesson 2, the rich buy assets, and lesson 3, mind your own business. And if you understand how these two lessons connect, you will change your mindset about the money. So, stay with me. Rich Dad says, the rich buy assets, but the poor and the middle class buy liabilities. It sounds like a short sentence, but it's actually one of the most important lines in the entire book. Because most people go through their whole lives without ever understanding the real difference between assets and liabilities. Before we get into it, there are just four words Kiyosaki builds this entire lesson on: income, assets, expenses, and liabilities. Income is any money that comes into your life: a paycheck, freelance work, an investment, a gift. Anything that lands in your hands counts as income. And here is the problem. Most people only focus on this one word. How do I make more? How do I get a rise? How do I earn bigger? But Rich Dad would say the real problem is not how much money comes into your pocket. It is what happens to it afterward. Ask an average person, what is an asset? They will usually say, my house, my car, basically everything I own. But Rich Dad had a completely different definition. He had say, an asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. Period. If it generates income, it is an asset. But if it pulls money out of your pocket, it is not an asset. No matter what it's called or how much it is worth. Like stocks, YouTube channel, business, anything that puts cash in your pocket is an asset. On the flip side, expenses are simply everything you spend day to day: food, clothes, travel, entertainment. And liabilities are anything that forces you to keep paying, like loan payments, debt, rent, bills, subscription. And here is the problem the book talks about shows up. Most people live inside a closed loop. A paycheck comes in and it goes right back out. Year after year, the more they earn, the more they spend. And the more they spend, the more they need to earn. Then the cycle repeats. Kiyosaki calls this the rat race. You are running fast, but you are not actually getting anywhere. But wait, here is the idea that made millions of readers completely rethink everything: their car, their house, the entire way they spend money. One day, Robert Kiyosaki wanted to buy his wife a car. He had more than enough cash to buy it outright. Almost anyone in his position would have just bought the car. But he remembered Rich Dad's advice: the rich buy assets first. So instead of buying the car, he bought an asset. He let that asset work and generate income. And years later, he used the profit from that asset to buy the car. Then he said the line that stuck with millions of readers: I didn't buy the car, the asset bought it. Think about that difference. Most people buy the car with their own money, but the rich buy an asset that buys the car for them. That is where rich thinking really begins. And that brings us to the most controversial idea in the entire book: the house. Most people consider their home an asset, but Rich Dad would say not necessary. If your house is pulling money out of your pockets, it is a liability. But if it is generating income for you, it is an asset. The point it's not that owning a home it's bad. It is that you have to be honest with yourself. Is this thing putting money in your bucket or take it out? But now an important question comes up. If buying assets is the secret, where do these assets actually come from? How does someone go from beginning just an employee to someone who owns assets that work for them? That brings us to lesson 3, and this might be the missing piece that makes everything click. In 1974, Ray Kroc, the man who built the McDonald's empire, was invited to speak to a class of MBA students. After his talk, he asked them a strange question. What business do you think I'm actually in? Everyone laughed. The answer seemed obvious. He runs McDonald's. But Ray Kroc said no. Running McDonald's is my job. My real business is real estate. It was a shock answer. He then explained that he had been buying up the land and location that McDonald's restaurants were built on. He wasn't just building restaurants, he was building assets, and that is when it clicked for Kiyosaki. The rich don't just focus on income, they focus on owning the assets that generate that income. Now ask yourself, what is something you genuinely love doing? What is something you could keep doing for years without ever feeling the time pass? What is something that could eventually turn into an asset? It could be writing, coding, creating content, anything. What matters is that over time it turns into an asset. Take Steve Jobs. He started with a simple passion for technology in his garage, and that passion grew into a company, then into assets, then into one of the biggest corporations in history. Even today, you can see the exact same idea play out with content creators. A single YouTube video can keep working for years. Thousands of people watch it, and it can keep earning money while you are sleeping. At that point, the video, it's not just a video anymore. It is an asset, and that's exactly how rich people think. If you had to sum up both lessons in a single sentence, it would be this. The rich don't spend all their income. They use a part of it to build assets. Then they use those assets to build even more assets. And over time, money stops being something they work for and becomes something that works for them. And in the next video, we will explain the lesson that explains why some people see opportunity everywhere while the others only see problems. So don't miss the next video.